Let's see if I can't get on this big puppy. Get this out of here. Alright. Yeah, I gotta do this. Here he goes. Here goes nothing. Alright. Let's see. Good. Hey, welcome. Reading with John. I am John. I'm gonna try to read. Let's see. See if I pull this stunt off. Here goes the book. Margie and the Wild Dogs. Let's see how I could do that. I don't think I could do it. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So I'll just stand up here. Whew, and finish up some of this book. I think we're on page 57. Let's take a look. Yes, Margie was just, I think she was just thrown into the lake from the apostles and Jesus. They picked her butt up and they just flung her. All right, because 57, chapter 5, page 57. With stone cold faces, they picked her up. As she began to yell and scream, they threw her overboard into the darkness of night. As Margie was panicking and grasping for air, she felt a squishy squirminess below her feet. Let me get a little water. Ooh, hi, yeah. Ooh, that felt good. It's hot out here. She felt a squishy squirminess below her feet. It was mud from the bottom of the lake. She then realized the water was only waist deep. So she stood up, looking towards the sky. Looking towards the sky, she watched it as it shined brighter and brighter. Appearing from the brightest star was a ladder hanging from the heavens, carrying people who sprouted wings, ascending and descending on the ladder. The people shouted her name, saying, "Margie, Margie, hop on." Indecisiveness clouded her brain, and by sheer instinct, she grabbed the lower rung of the ladder. She was lifted to what the winged people were calling the third heaven. Margie was baffled that she had missed the first and the second heavens. Astonished and not believing her eyes or ears, she heard shouts of hi-ho, hi-ho, it's down to hell we go. But there they were, singing on their way down. Jose, Skittles, Lucas, and Pitts, hanging by a skyhook connected to their waist belts. Before she could call out to them, the skyhook snapped, sending the Wild Dogs into a free fall. In a flash before her eyes, she knew that the Wild Dogs, along with herself, could conquer this space-time continuum. Margie had now let go of the bottom of the rung of the ladder herself, so both Margie and the Wild Dogs were helplessly twirling to earth. Phew, that landing was brutal. Brutal, I say. It was a brutal landing. Did you hear me back here? That was a brutal landing. Okay, I gotta find my place here. That landing was brutal. Their bodies slammed one on top of the other, propping up like a pyramid of dirty flesh. Their landing spot was dark, smelly, and cold. Dark, smelly, and cold. Yikes! After a few minutes, their eyes adjusted to the darkness, and they realized they were all now prisoners in a dungeon. Heavy metal bars caged them in like animals, and in the distance they could hear singing. The tunes were praise-like melodies to God. They could see soldiers heading in their direction. One soldier was holding a bucket, and one was wielding a large half-moon-looking sword. Should get back on that raft. The rattling of large keys were followed by instructions to step back to the rear of their cell. One soldier grabbed Lucas by the neck and applied pressure, causing intense pain that paralyzed his body. The others cowered in the corner as Lucas was held down by 3 other soldiers. The bucket was then placed under Lucas's head. Trying to escape, the group rushed the soldiers in one motion. Bada boom, bada bing. They were massively overpowered and hurled back into the corner of their cell. Lucas was screaming and crying for his life as another soldier holding the half-moon sword took a couple of practice swings through the air. At this point, there was nothing Lucas or the others could do. They watched in horror as the sword-holding soldier let loose with one mighty swing, slicing Lucas's head right off his shoulders like a hot knife slicing through butter. His head bounced several times up and down, splattering blood everywhere, before finally coming to a halt inside the bucket. Pitts passed out from the gruesome sight, while the rest crumbled in fear at the back of the cell. Next, the soldiers grabbed Skittles. It was his turn, pulling him from the cell as he shook, trembled, and convulsed with fear. 2 soldiers held his head down into the bucket containing the head of Lucas. Skittles was now staring into the eyeballs of his dead buddy. Screams and mercy pleas were ignored, and the last thing Skittles would see was the decapitated head of his friend Lucas. With one whack, the soldiers succeeded with their version of a doubleheader. Whack! Only this time, Skittles' head bounced off the side of the bucket and rolled onto the dungeon floor straight towards them as they watched in horror. The soldiers kicked the head of Skittles like it was a soccer ball, sending it crashing into the back wall just behind them. The soldiers, grinning with wide evil smirks, turned and grabbed Jose. He was dragged to the front of the cell, and like Skittles, he kicked, screamed, and begged for his life. Other soldiers came marching down the hall. One was carrying a bucket of kerosene that sent heavy odors of the substance throughout the dungeon. Yikes. Let's see. Jose was now on his stomach, face down, slamming his head against the cobblestone floor, trying to knock himself out. Several soldiers snatched Jose from the floor and hoisted him onto a sharp metal hook sticking out of the wall. The kerosene bucket was dumped over his body, drenching him in kerosene. In a distance, Margie could see another soldier heading Jose's way, carrying a torch, giving more light to see throughout the dungeon. Margie looked around into the other cells and saw men, women, and children half dead from starvation, moving slowly about, gurgling white foam from their mouths. The torch was then waved under Jose's feet, igniting him into flames. Agonizing screams of terror blasted off the brick walls while the stench of burnt flesh filled the air. Appearing before Margie, only a few feet away, stood a 5-foot, 300-pound lion, looking awfully hungry. Margie's fate was now to be eaten alive by that mighty lion. Margie ran to the passed-out Pitts and desperately tried to revive him, crying for help. As the lion slowly stepped in her direction, his mouth grew larger and larger. She fell onto the floor, waiting for the inevitable to come. Then she heard the sweetest words imaginable. "Hey, Margie! Hey, Margie!" And as a flicker of light, there she was, standing under an olive tree with human-sized olives bursting with ripeness. After what Margie had just experienced, she was now living in a New York state of mind. From this point on, she resolved that she would not let herself bend to fear. Thick as a brick and as soil to oil, there sat an olive attached to a scroll. And we will continue the scroll attachment story another time. Let me get my mate. Another time, time and a half time. So, you guys have a great day. Hot here in Florida, so the pool's gonna be good. And I'll be praying for every one of you guys. I hope you enjoyed this story. We'll continue with it next time. And maybe I'll show you a dive in the pool. I'll dive in from this way. Let's see if I can dive on that baby. All right. All right. Let's see you next time. Pick up a copy on Amazon to read along with us. Otherwise, if you want to see or hear some of the rest of the story, just go to YouTube, type in Margie's Bible story, boom, 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 and the rest of the stories will pop up. I will see you guys soon. Ooh. Bye.